Hey everybody, welcome to another Moarhammer battle report, and this is the first battle report using Age of Sigmar. Me and a buddy met up at my place, and we were just going to go through with the rules and talk about stuff. And he said, I wish we would play a game, but I've only got a Nurgle army, so I said, well, it'll be really boring to just split up that and have a go. But then I realised I've got quite a large Traitor Guard army for 40k, which has involved lots of conversions, especially that of sort of vampire counts, undead stuff. And it turns out I could actually put together an army for them, so it's not a big game, but it does sort of give us an idea of what the rules are going like. So yeah, so here we go. This is what we were playing on. Again, shitboard, and sorry for the lunchbox scenery, but it's the best we could do. On my side, we've got, on the far left there, we've got a Beast of Nurgle. Then we've got 10 Plague Bearers and a Herald of Nurgle, 3 Nurgling Swarms, 6 Chaos Warriors with a Sorcerer of Nurgle, and a Soul Grinder. And on his side, on the top left there, you've got 5 Black Knights, and you've got a big chunk of 30-something zombies. Then at the back left, you've got a Khan Wraith, just to the right of the zombies, but to the left of the other greeny models. You've got a Khan Wraith, then you've got 5 Grave Guard, and then a White King in the middle. Then you've got another big block of 30-something zombies. And right at the back centre of that pick of zombies is Necromancer, and he's his general. And then to the far right, you've got a Banshee. Now, we were just... there's no army composition rules, so we just kind of put what I had for the vampires out. And then we sort of went through my Nurgle army and thought, right, what's a reasonable army that would kind of fit well and be okay. And this is what we agreed would be seemed reasonable. Wounds wise, it's kind of even though they're zombies. He still does outwound me, but that's fine. So yeah, this is what we came on with. And as you can see, he quite severely outnumbered me. So I had one of the instant victory things, and I chose just to go with a fluffy one to kill his Necromancer. That was the aim of my game. So yeah, we just kicked things off and see where things go. So we both rolled the first turn, and I got for the first turn. I'll say right now, a claimer at the start, we get a lot of things wrong in this game, things that I already know. So don't get too upset about that. But the first thing we get wrong is, so we roll for the first battle phase, I get the first turn, he gets the second. We stick like that for the entire game. So while it should change, you roll at the start of the battle phase, we didn't. We forgot about that. But there you go. I'm not too mad about that. So first thing that happens in my hero phase, I cast the Arcane Shield spell on my warriors, so they get a +1 armor save, and that was fine. Now I move everything forward like this, fairly unsubtle. I'm just going for my standard tactic of push things forward and see what happens. Nothing happens in my shooting phase, so we go into his phase. Nothing happens in his hero phase, so he just pushes everything forward. And with run moves and everything, as you can see, end of turn 1 in movement, his stuff's really far forward, so stuff actually gets pushed forward really fast in Age of Sigmar. It's really fast moving. His Black Knights have pushed up. They haven't run, so they're going to be able to get a charge in on the Beast. And all his zombies have really moved forward, so there's going to be a lot going on next turn, which is cool. So as I said, nothing happens in his shooting, so he charges and he hits the Beast. In the combat, he puts 3 wounds on the Beast, and I put 2 wounds on Black Knight's back. And here's where we discovered something quite interesting. If you have a weapon that does D3 wounds, for example, that doesn't mean it does D3 wounds to a single model. It can mean it will do D3 wounds to the unit. And that's how we understand the rules. So I did 1 wound with this guy's flailing fist, or whatever it's called, and it actually knocks it does D3 wounds, so it knocked 2 of the knights down, which I thought was pretty sweet. So keep an eye out for rules with which do more than 1 wound. Ogres are going to be horrible like this. So we go to my hero phase, and I cast the same spell again. For the entirety of this game, pretty much, I was forgetting that every time you successfully cast a spell with a Nurgle Sorcerer, this guy, you get a wound back. I was forgetting that. So yeah, there's that. This is the arcane shield I cast, and there's the rest of my movement. My soul grinder moves up into the lunchbox hill. Stuff moves forward. I do this slightly incorrectly. My Nurglings shouldn't have been able to move that far forward. They can't come within 3 inches of an enemy model without charging. But it didn't make a difference in the end. In the shooting phase, I end up shooting at the zombies with my soul grinder. I kill 3, I think, just knock a couple off the back. No biggie. So we jump straight to charges. My Plague Bearers and Herald charge the zombies, and my Nurglings charge the other zombies, and my Warriors charge those zombies. Now here's something else we figured out. There's no part in the rules that say anything to do with attaching characters to units. So as far as we can make out, you cannot do that, which is quite interesting. So the Sorcerer can't make that charge, or he has to sit there. He doesn't go in with the Warriors. So that's kind of interesting, which means he's at any point, no matter how close he is to a model, he's completely independent, which I thought was quite interesting. And then the Soul Grinder there charges the Banshee on the right-hand side. So the combats start. Here's a better picture of all these combats over here. Here's a better picture of the combats over here. So we go into this combat first. And we do this combat incorrectly, but I'll get to that in a bit. So we start off with this big combat here. I end up, with sort of the Warriors, the Nurglings, and the zombies, I end up thundering about 7 zombies into the ground. He kills 1 warrior back. And this is why I think, so zombies I think are absolutely terrifying in Age of Sigmar. He rolled terribly here, but when there's more than 20 zombies, they get +2 to their rolls of hit and wound. Normally they're hitting on 6s, wounding on 6s. But if there's 20... or even 30 of them. If there's 30, they get +3, so they're hitting on 3s, wounding on 3s. That's terrifying. Absolutely terrifying when there's 30 of them. They'll just go through stuck shit like nobody's business. It's incredible. So, that happened there. And we go to this combo over here. He's able to kill 3 Plague Bearers. I'm able to kill 5 zombies. I also take 2 wounds on my Herald. And over here, he doesn't do anything to me, I don't do anything back. And then over here, this is quite fun, the Iron Claw rule with the Soul Grinder is you both roll a dice. If you roll the same, the Banshee gets hit with 6 mortal wounds, which just kills her outright. So that's awesome. Really, very unlikely to happen, but I quite like the rule. So yeah, then. So it's kind of at this point we realise that you don't attack and then attack back. What happens is you attack with one of your units, and then they attack back with any of their units. So you've really got to think about which units you're attacking with first. Because if you've got a combat where you've got 2 units in and they've got 1, you can only attack with one of those units before they can attack back potentially against the other unit. So there's a really interesting dynamic of combats, which I really like. It's very interesting. You've got to really think about where you're going to go first and what's going to happen. In his turn, he doesn't do anything in the hero phase. In his movement phase, however, we get a bit of an interesting one here. This unit of the Graveguard and the White can't move through that gap where the Nurglings and Plague Bearers are, because they're not allowed to go within 3 inches of another model. It doesn't say stop within, it's because it says move within. So that implies they can't get through that gap, which I find really interesting. So they can't just make their way through like they could in 40k. So that's quite interesting. And Khan Wraith kind of moves across. That's all his moves. They go into combat. I'm able to take down 3 of the zombies. He kills 1 of my warriors back. And he does a wound on a Nurgling. That's fine. Over here, my Beast does nothing, and the Black Riders, the Black Knights do nothing. Over here, I kill another 1 zombie, and splat, shit, he kills 7 Plague Bearers back. Absolutely brutal. Then over here, my warriors end up attacking, and I think my Nurglings attacking, or just the rest of my attacks, and I end up killing a whole bunch of these guys. Oh, that's right. Before, when I don't know. Yeah. This is a bit of a mess, isn't it? Oh Then over here, I hit back and kill another zombie. And then over here, I do a bravery test wrong. I decided to roll 2d6 rather than 1d6 for the bravery test, and therefore 3 warriors run away. So that was nice. Shouldn't have done that. That was stupid. But c'est la vie, live and learn. Never going to do that again, am I? Then over here, my wandering plague bearer fails his bravery test and pops, leaving my one herald alone with 20-something zombies, which is scary. 2 zombies die. Another zombie dies. Can't remember what did this. So we go into my turn again, and I move my herald up so he could charge the unit. I move my soul grind around, and then I realised something very interesting. As was the case with my Lord Sorcerer of Nurgle, is the case with his Necromancer. He's not attached to that unit of zombies. He can't be, which means he is I'm entirely able to single him out. So my Soul Grinder there with his Harvester Cannon and Phlegm Bombardment decides to shoot him. Because he can. There's no... I can't find... Please tell me if you can find this, but I can't find any reason why he can't just shoot him off. So I shoot him, I do 2 wounds. Fortunately, he's got this really nice rule where on a 4+, if he's within another death unit within 3 inches, on a 4+, he passes the wound on to them. So I do 2 wounds to the Necromancer and a wound to the zombie. It's quite a nice rule. And then my Phlegm Bombardment goes off and kills, and he deflects that as well. So I kill 3 more zombies. Again, nice rule. And then my Soul Grinder charges into the zombies. Equally, my Sorcerer charges into, but that's all the charges. So I go first for my Soul Grinder, and I stomp 4 into dirt. Then he attacks back with his zombies. He doesn't do anything to the Nurglings, and he doesn't do anything to the Soul Grinder, and he does nothing to my Sorcerer or the Warrior. Over here in this combat, I strike next, and I'm able to do a wound to the Black Knights, which is nice. And then he goes first over here, and is able to do nothing to my Herald. Then I strike back, but I get nothing over here. Then I hit over here, and I kill 9, 10 zombies, which is pretty nice. And after his bravery check, because he's lost so many that turn, he's able to just the rest of them pop. And then we realise there's no sort of rules for consolidation or overrunning or anything like that, so we just sit right where we are, which is fine. Then we go to his turn. The first thing he does in his hero phase is try to cast Summon Zombies, and he rolls a 10. Oh no! He's got to summon 20 zombies. Fortunately, I rolled an 11 to dispel it. There you go, there are the dice. So I was really close to having another 20 zombies right in my face. I'm not a fan of these summoning powers. They can be horrendously powerful. So yeah, the rest of his movement. His Khan Wraith moves up sort of towards my Sorcerer, and everything else kind of just moves around. His Necromancer moves away from everything. So his charging phase, his Khan Wraith charges my Sorcerer, and his Graveguard and White King charge the Nurglings. So go into this combat first with the Khan Wraith against the Nurgle Sorcerer, and nothing happens to either of them. Everybody misses, so that's nice. Then in this combat over here, I attack with he attacks the Nurglings with his Graveguard and does 4 wounds to them, so 1 Nurgling base dies. Then I attack over here, and I'm able to kill both of the Graveguard before he does anything to me, which is awesome. Then he attacks here with his White King and does a wound to a Nurgling. I attack over here and kill a couple of... I think I kill a zombie and he does a wound back to me. Yeah, and that's all the combats. This is a bit disorganised, isn't it? I need to sort of write down exactly which combats happen in which order, I think, when I'm doing these battle reports. It's quite difficult to figure out which where who struck where, because it's not just back and forth in one round, win one combat. It's quite difficult to keep an eye on. I'll do my best. Then in my turn, and the first thing I do is I cast Stream of Corruption spell from my sorcerer, and I put 3 wounds on the Khan Wraith, which is awesome. It's quite a nice spell, that one. D3 mortal wounds. Quite happy with that. So I move up and around, and here's my Hail Mary. My Soul Grinder is going to shoot at the Necromancer, and this time there's nothing in the way of him just blowing his face off. He's not within 3 inches of another model, so he can't pass the wounds on, and yeah, killed him, knocked him down, dead. And there you have it. Because of the instant victory, or whatever it's called, rule, I win the game right there and then. He's got nothing else, so his Necromancer dies. That's my instant victory. So there's the end of the game. As you can see, I'm still not sure who would have won this if we'd carried on. We discussed this quite a while afterwards. He thinks that the Khan Wraith probably would have lost there, because the Soul Grinder or the Warrior would have charged in and probably ended up beating him. The Graveguard against the Nurglings, they would have won. The Plague Bearers would have eventually... The zombies, would probably have won eventually in that combat, even with the Beast. So then we would have had a situation where it's sort of... it's really hard to figure out how it would have played out to the end. Given that the Soul Grinder still had 16 wounds, that probably would have carried it through. But yeah, so that's victory. I've got a couple of points to make about that game. So the first point I want to make is it seems pretty not untactical. Like that seemed very much like a push forward and do damage kind of things. I expect over time synergies will start to work each other out. Like, I do expect there are some pretty horrendous ones that I'm already looking into. Like, if there are things that can make the Soul Grinder better, I am all for that, because it's awesome. But looking at, like, the zombies, for instance, if you have a unit of 30 zombies, like I said earlier, they get +3 on their hit and wound rolls. If you then have a corpse cart nearby, they get an extra +1. So you can have this... You got a unit of 40 or 50 zombies running around. They're hitting on 2s and wounding on 3s or 2s or the other way around. It's appallingly strong. They'll just... Everything will just fold. And given that points don't count for anything, it's hard to tell what that means. So, as far as I can tell, at the moment, wounds might be quite a good way of determining how things are, because a unit of 10 Chaos Warriors against a unit of 20 zombies, I'm not sure is as one-sided as you might have thought, especially when you've got other buffs and synergies. I think this game is very, very simple and not tactical on the face of it. But when people really start getting into the nooks and crannies of this game, they really start looking deep into it, it's going to start being a really, really tactical game. It's not in the movement, it's in the synergies, it's in the placement, it's in what units you put into what units and when, and how you choose to attack with them. I think it's all of the Warhammer Fantasy tactics were in the movement, or the most of it. It's all how you moved, how you got to the sides of other units, how you multi-charged, and all of that stuff. This game is not about that. It's about the synergies. It's about your army, which kind of takes me on to the point of army composition. I'm really, really struggling to figure out how you're supposed to organise a game with someone. So you say, normally you can say, 2,000 point game? Great, 2,000 point game, let's do it. And that's that. But here, it seems like you have to have a long conversation. You have to sort of, here's my army list. What do you think is suitable to fight that? How about this? Oh no, that's got too many things that are strong in it. What if I increase it to this? How's that? It seems like a really roundabout way. So I don't know how that's going to work. I'm hoping it'll become obvious. I'm hoping that this game is internally actually very balanced, because it does seem like I'm still struggling to see which of these armies is actually more powerful when you just look at the deployments, because from my perspective on both sides it seemed balanced. So let me know what you think on that, everyone. I'd be quite interested to hear what you think about these two specific armies. Do you think the vampires were horribly outmatched from the start because they're zombies, even though you could see how damaging the zombies were. And he was rolling terribly with those zombies, apart from that one plague bear around, but just look at that. It's really, really deadly. So yeah, but overall, I enjoyed that game. It was kind of quick, it was kind of fast, even though every single combat we had to look at all the bits of paper to figure out how many attacks, what they do, and then we had a reference back to the rulebook. It was a slow game in that respect, but ultimately it was very fast. So this could be you could end up having much bigger games than this that would take the same time as Fantasy. So very interested to play more games of this. I'll be honest, I'm still on the fence about it. I really, really want to like it, but I'm not going to do what so many other people are doing and instantly jump on the it's shit, I hate it, it's different, I can't stand it, wow, wow, wow. I'm going to play a different game. Blah, 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 blah. Just, yeah, it's not a replacement. It is a new game. Deal with it. I have no issues with... I love Warhammer Fantasy. I'm sad that it's gone, but I completely understand why it is, and I have no qualms with playing a new game. Because I may end up having a lot more fun with this game than I had with Fantasy. If that's the case, I'm absolutely fine with it. So there you go. Thanks very much for watching. Please leave some feedback. I'm really interested to see what people think of this, how they interact with it, if they think I'm right, if they think I'm wrong, and what they thought about how this game works. I'm hoping this might actually be one of the first Age of Sigmar battle reports to actually be on the internet. That's right, I'm going to claim the internet. So yeah, please feel free to comment and see what you think. Equally, I implore everyone, just try. Just play the game, see what you think. If you don't like it, fine. But just try it. Don't shoot it down. Don't say, oh, I played it with 70 Chaos Warriors and it was boring. Yeah, I've heard that story already. It's shit. Get a grip. So don't do that. Alright, thanks very much guys. Bye.